Welcome back to GB News. We're going to be talking about the cost of lockdowns in terms of other treatments, non-COVID treatments in hospital in just a moment. But first, new research looking at children's money managing confidence shows 1 in 6 kids have never had a savings goal. HSBC UK spoke to more than 1,000 children aged between 6 and 15. They were surveyed in May to find out more about their savings goals and understanding of different aspects of managing money.
Yeah, the research found that nearly half had saved for a new toy, making this the most popular savings target. A generous 26% have piled up their pennies to buy gifts for family members or friends. Looking at how often they receive money, 34% get pocket money every week, whilst 2% receive pocket money every day. Lucky them.
Let's now speak to Helen Driver, the Collaboration Director at Mybanks, an organisation that delivers financial education for 5 to 25-year-olds in schools and youth organisations. They've worked with over 270,000 children across England and Scotland. Welcome to you. First of all, do you find the findings of this report surprising?
No, not really. And the reason for that is, as you say, we've worked with 270,000 children and young people over the last 14 years. And at the heart of some of our work is actually evaluation and impact. So we're looking at exactly the impact that our workshops working with children are having on their behaviours, on their knowledge, on their confidence when it comes to money. And actually what we've found is that when we work with primary school children, after 3 months of working with them, nearly 70% of them have started to work towards a savings goal, and nearly 3/4 of them are beginning to be able to sort of delay that gratification of going out and instantly spending their money, and also being able to distinguish between what might be a need and what might be a want. So this isn't really a surprise to us at Mybanks.
Yeah. I mean, what's fascinating to me, I used to say, actually, I find it remarkable that most people leave school at the age of 18, have no idea how mortgages work and all of those things. But today's financial landscape is so different, isn't it? You've got cryptocurrencies, you've got the buy now, pay later services such as Klarna, you've got the ability to pay for things just zapping off the mobile phone. How important is it to sort of rigorously instill in children as young as 5 years old a sort of sense of personal economy?
Well, I think the short answer is it's vital, because you're quite right. Money and personal finance is rapidly changing, and fintech and new technologies are only accelerating that. So it's absolutely vital. It's a life skill. It's something that is a skill that stays with us throughout our life, whether you're young, whether you're old, rich, poor, whatever your background. So, yeah, I would completely agree with you that financial education is absolutely vital, and is essential that we get children young and we instill those good behaviours and those good habits. And then as they get older, we can then move on to some of those skills and knowledge, things like mortgages, as you say, or borrowing and so on.
Helen, the psychology of this is really interesting, because you mentioned there it's about telling a child the difference between a need and a want. Yeah. Right? And that is so crucial, because obviously, you know, children, it depends on how they're brought up by their parents. Do they just get it instantly and straight away when they ask for it? Do they have to wait for it? You're essentially having to teach kids that they have to be patient, and they've got to save, and they've got to wait for it, and also trying to get them to discriminate between the difference between a need and a want. Really, really interesting, and working with so many different children with who are subjected to different styles of parenting, you know, difficult.
Yeah, and often a lot of our work at Mybanks is actually working with vulnerable young people, young adults even, who perhaps don't have that parental safety net and therefore can't afford to make mistakes too. So you're quite right that parents and schools play an important part in financial education. But as I say, for some, they don't have that parental or that family network from whom to learn those behaviours and to turn to when things go wrong. Because let's face it, when it comes to money, even with the best of us, we can make mistakes.
Yeah. And have you found that they're largely a receptive audience, these young kids? They find it a little bit boring. I mean, what sort of response are you getting?
Yeah, well, that's why actually what we do at Mybanks is we use trained experts, and they're typically young people. They might be youth workers, they might be former teachers, And so they get it, they get the kids. So it's not sort of boring old people like myself standing up at the front and lecturing. They really bring it to life, and they use language and activities that the kids can really engage in. And I often I've had to do it virtually recently, but sort of sat at the back of the classroom, if you like, and watched on. And the kids just get so excited. So actually having experts like ourselves really bring it to life is actually important in bringing those messages to life, and for the kids to sort of engage with it and really remember and take it forward.
And you are using piggy banks with cash and actual coins in, which is something that kids, when they grow up, I mean, even now, so few people use cash, and when they're older, there may even be no such thing as cash. But you are still using piggy banks with coins and kind of illustrating it that way.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we do both. So it's absolutely vital that not only do we do the physical, but we talk about the technology and ways in which technology can be used, and actually particularly technology around some of the pitfalls, if you like. So young people are particularly vulnerable to scams and fraud. So that is sort of one of the key elements in many of our programs in helping young people identify when an email comes in and asks you to share your bank details, that might not be the smartest of ideas. So we have to make sure that we bring it to life in the physical, but also in the virtual world.
Helen, thank you ever so much for joining us. That's Helen Driver, Collaboration Director at Mybanks, speaking to us just then. Yeah,
really interesting to hear what you think, by the way, about how you get your kids to tell them that they don't need, the difference between a need and a want, and how you get them to save when they're bombarded with all these messages, advertising, constantly telling them that they need to buy this, need to buy this, need to buy this.
It's all delayed gratification these days. No, there's no delayed gratification these days.